Okay, so in this video, you'll learn the masculine and feminine forms and singular and plural forms of a noun. How to change from masculine to feminine, from singular to plural. So, for all that, let's first learn what are nouns. Okay, what do you think? What are nouns? There are many complex definitions, but I would like to keep it simple. Okay, a noun is a person, that is person, a place, that is un lieu, and a thing, that is chose. And you can also add animal, person, place, animal, thing. Collectively, these are called nouns grammatically. Okay, so obviously, every noun has a singular and a plural form. Okay, it can be one person, many people. Okay, it can be a place, it can be many places, one thing, many things, and one animal, many animals. Okay, so in English, the rule is simple, you add an S and you proceed. But in French, we have a set of rules. The most common rule is the same. Okay, it's the basic one. You add an S. Okay, and for most of the words, this stands true. In maison, okay, for example, a house. So you just add an S. Okay, it will become des maisons. Obviously, for plural, the article is des, so it will become des, and then maison, des maisons. Okay, we just add an S, and that is the case with many words like you can say un parc, and here you can say des parcs. Okay, so this is the most common rule, and this generally this is the case. We just add an S, and that's it. Okay, now if there is already an S in the end, okay, if there is already an S, like pays, pay, a country, the word already has an S in the end. So it doesn't change. Okay, it doesn't change in plural. Okay, it will remain they pay. We don't add another S or we don't add any other letter. Okay, so this rule applies to any word that ends in S, X, or Z. Okay, we can take more examples like in croix. In croix is a cross. Okay, this also remains unchanged. Des croix. Okay, des croix. And another example, a nez, a nose. Okay, that will also remain the same. It will be unchanged. Okay, so generally we add an S and it becomes plural. If there is already S, X, or Z in the end, we don't add anything, it remains unchanged. Obviously, the article changes, but the word, the noun remains unchanged. Same for singular and plural. Okay, now let's come to the third rule. If there is U in the end, okay, like OU, EU, and in many cases where there is U in the end, we add an X. I'm not saying it's the case every time, okay, but in many, many cases, when the last letter is U in the singular form, for example, en lieu, it's a place. So places is des lieux with an X. Okay, here we don't add an S, we add an X. Okay, then bijou. Bijou is jewelry. Okay, it's a jewelry piece. So if it's plural, then we add X. Okay, un bijou, des bijoux. The pronunciation doesn't change, but yes, we add an X to make it plural. Okay, we can also take another example like un cheveux, a hair, and for plural, des cheveux. Okay, so we simply add an X. Okay, so that is the case when there is U in the end. Obviously, there are exceptions where we add S, but you have to remember this as a general rule. If there is U in the end, then generally we add an X to make it plural. Okay, next, and the last rule for changing singular to plural, if there is al in the end, like an animal, okay, the al is replaced with aux. Okay, an animal changes to des animaux. Okay, al changes to aux. An animal, des animaux. Okay, for example, another example, un journal, that's a newspaper, that will change to des journaux. Okay, AUX. Then another example, cheval. Cheval is a horse. Then for plural, des chevaux. So if there is AL in there, it will change to AUX. Okay. So these are the rules to change a noun from singular to plural. Okay. Now, to change a noun from masculine to feminine. Okay. It is generally for people and animals. Okay. Because objects cannot be masculine and feminine both. Okay. They are either masculine or feminine. So these rules don't apply to that one. But for generally for people, okay, we have these rules for professions, for designations. Okay, for example, a neighbor. Okay, a neighbor, voisin. Okay, it's the same in English, a neighbor, whether it's feminine or masculine. But in French we have a feminine form that is different. Okay, if it's a male neighbor, voisin, female neighbor, in voisine. Okay, un voisin, in voisine. What did we do over here? A small, simple change. We added an E. Like in plural, we added S. Here, we added an E. Okay, as simple as that. And that's what we do most of the times. We add an E and it becomes femina. Okay. Um, we can take one more example. An avocat, an advocate. Here it will be une avocate. Okay. Then a professor, that will also be like this. Okay. Next, if there is already E in the end, okay, the masculine one also ends in E. For example, locataire, okay, the one who lives on rent, propriétaire, the owner. There is already an E in the end, you can see over here. Okay, so it remains unchanged. Okay, in, obviously the article changes, but the word remains as it is, in locataire, in propriétaire. Okay, propriétaire. Okay, so yes, for masculine and feminine, it's different. Sorry, it's same. It's the same over here. Okay, if there is already in the end, we don't change it. Okay, now the next rule is if there is IEN in the end. Okay, IEN in the end. Like un musicien. Okay, un musicien. It changes to IE. Une musicienne. Okay, une musicienne. Okay, so IEN changes to IENNE. Okay, now let's go to the next one. That is vendeur in vendeuse. Okay, if there is EUR ending word in masculine form, vendeur, like a vendor. EUR changes to EUSE. Okay, so it will be une vendeuse. Okay, un vendeur, une vendeuse. Okay, so EUR changes to EUSE. IEN changes to IENNE. This one remains unchanged, and generally we add an E in the end. Okay, yes, that's how it is. Next rule. Okay, we have two more rules. If we have TEUR in the end, okay, TEUR. A simple example, an actor, it will change to une actrice, une actrice. Okay, there's an exception that you learn with the professions. Okay, chanteur, chanteuse. But when we have ter in the end, we change it to trice in femina. Okay, in most of the cases, there are only a few exceptions. So ter changes to trice, an actor, une actrice. Okay, and the last rule is if there is er in the end for masculine, like un boulanger, okay, a baker, un boulanger, then it will change to une boulangère. Okay, une boulangère. That's also a baker, but feminine form. Okay, so if there is er in the end, then we change it to e with an accent. Okay, accent grave towards the left, and then r and one more e. Yes, these are the rules to change, to transform noun from singular to plural form, masculine to feminine form. Okay, so yes, you have to learn how they are written, how these words are written, the different forms of the words, and you also have to learn how they are pronounced. Okay, so that's it for le genre et le nombre des noms, the number and the gender of the nouns. C'est tout. Merci.